Happy Monday, everybody. It's Rod with POW Group. Welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth. Happy Valentine's Day. It's February 14th, and we're going to get started with today's live stream. Going to make today's live stream public. Normally, we do it private member live stream, so people in the private POW Group community do take a request, but we're going to make this public here today. So just sit tight, and we'll get started in about a minute, and we'll allow people to join us. Hello, everybody. I see we have some people joining us. It's Rod with POW Group. Welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth. We're going to get started here in about 30 seconds. All right, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're tuning in from today, everybody. It's Rod with POW Group. Welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth. Today is Monday, February 14th. Happy Valentine's Day. Hope you're having an awesome day so far. Wanted to come on and do a public live stream. So normally we do these live streams and take requests for private members in the POW Group community. But we had some news with regards to Hexo as well, and a lot of people were asking questions, and I saw a lot of people talking about it online, so I wanted to come online. I've got about an hour, and we'll run through my thoughts on the market here right now. And if anybody has any ticket requests, you can drop them in the YouTube chat. I'll do my best to get to them. Can't promise I'll get to all of them, depending on how many we have. With the limited time that I have today, I got about an hour, like I said. So before we jump in, make sure to smash the like, subscribe to the channel, tick the bell, you'll be notified on any future live streams and video uploads. So taking a look at the crypto space, we are seeing heavy consolidation across the crypto industry at the moment. And we have 15-minute, I think we were 15-minute oversold there on Bitcoin. Yep. So we touched down on 15-minute oversold. And if we take a look at the daily time frame, we are consolidating. It's technically still a bull flag rather. So if we zoom out to the 2-day time frame, you can see here it is still a bull flag. We're holding the 0.32. And if we do see a confirmation of this 2-day bull flag, I think that we could see a strong move over the next couple of days coming off the back of the Super Bowl. But we had some great commercials there. My favorite was the Kyle Lowry one. And I think that one was only played in Canada. But if we just take a look at the measured move, that would take us up to about 51K on Bitcoin. If we confirm that, if we lose the lows here of this pullback at 41,570, that's going to decrease the odds that we're going to see a bull flag on Bitcoin. But like I said, still holding that level. So as long as we hold the lows here, it's still a potential bull flag, and we can target the 50K to 51K area. So no major red flags right now on Bitcoin. If we zoom out to the weekly time frame, we are in a weekly downtrend. So we had this weekly bear flag that confirmed, and that came off of the new all-time high consolidation. And this is the first time we've been in a weekly downtrend. We had the scare back here. Actually, we did form a weekly lower high and lower low from that previous all-time high, but didn't last very long. We came down. We were forming a bit of a descending triangle, but bulls stepped in and V-shaped recovery to a new all-time high, changing the weekly trend back into a weekly uptrend. But here we are back into a weekly downtrend. The S&P 500, and a lot of people were calling for the collapse of the broader market. We're still not in a weekly downtrend yet on the S&P 500, so I'm going to be monitoring this very closely. We could still see an EMA 12 and 26 bear cross of those EMAs, which would likely put us into a weekly downtrend, and that hasn't happened, I believe, since 2018. I'd have to go back and check here, but if we just go back to the lows of March 2020, we just lost the weekly uptrend. We never really confirmed a weekly downtrend there. So yeah, if we go back, it was in 2018, the last time we were in a weekly downtrend on the S&P 500. So that would be significantly notable if we were to confirm a weekly downtrend here. And the most important support going forward for the S&P 500 is 420.76. So we'll want to hold that level, or we risk confirming a weekly downtrend. I don't believe it's going to happen. We're still working on a weekly high or low, so we could even change the weekly trend bullish here. So as long as we form a weekly high or low compared to 420.76, and then if we break resistance at 458.12, that will confirm a weekly uptrend. What we would want to see is something where we come down, we form a high or low, hold support, break to a higher high, and then that would give us our weekly uptrend. And then we can likely expect at least a lower high on the weekly time frame compared to the all-time high, and then we need to come back down. Could see a type of equilibrium as well. So if we just delete the lines on the chart here, we could see, if we do pull back, we could see a tightening range, and then we get the break. So we're going to be watching this very closely. Like I said, that line in the sand support is at 420.76. If we lose that, I can expect a lot of fear to pick up in the market. But like I said, Bitcoin still not starting weekly consolidation yet. We barely broke we just lost the low of last week's low. So we did technically start, but holding so far, we had support at 41,678. We got as low as 41,570. So not much of a bear break so far of that weekly inside bar. And then, like I said, we'll just be looking for a weekly high or low. Compared to the pullback here at 32,933, if we can form that high or low, hold support, and then break resistance, again, that'll confirm weekly uptrends. And we know that we're not going to see any mass fear in the broader market unless we confirm weekly downtrends and monthly downtrends. I don't think we're going to see a bear market begin until that criteria happens. Well, let's just take a look at some movers and shakers here today. And like I said, if anybody has any ticker requests, make sure to drop them in the chat below. I usually go over the broader market, the crypto space real quickly, and then we look at some individual names, and then we look at the MJ space just to see what's going on. So today on the bear list in the crypto realm, we have BIGG, MGT, and HP. On the bull list, we have HBAR, Solana, and XTZ. And if we just take a look at the dominance chart, one thing I wanted to highlight on the dominance chart, I said we could bounce around in this. And if you don't know what the dominance chart is, basically it's just the strength of Bitcoin compared to the rest of the market. So BTC, if the dominance of BTC.D is going up, if we're seeing an up day, right? If we're seeing a green day, then we're expecting Bitcoin to outperform alts. If we're seeing a down day on this chart on BTC.D, then we're expecting alts to outperform, and I said to outperform. So I said, watch this chart here. We could bounce around for a couple days, or sorry, a couple months, and that's just exactly what we're seeing. We lost support there at 39.56%, but we didn't see much follow through to the downside, and we're just forming this bit of a descending triangle right now on the weekly time frame. So what we could see is just a tightening range, and then we could tighten up over the next couple of months, really, and then we see a bear break. Usually these patterns, these descending triangles, mean that we could see a bearish continuation pattern. So if we just take a look at where we could potentially fall, could see it anywhere around 30 to 33%, in my opinion, if we were to confirm that. It all depends. Like I said, if we confirm weekly uptrends, that's going to really shift the momentum in crypto. But like I said, we could still potentially bounce up to the 45 area and still just be forming that lower high on this pattern. And if we ignore those wicks there and just use the real candle bodies, like I said, expecting a break at some point. I do think that Bitcoin is going to start to fall behind, and we're going to see altcoins outperform. Taking a look at the broader market, we have, let's just extrapolate that out, HGD, XLE, and HOD leading the decline today. And XLE, so the energy sector, still not starting weekly consolidation yet, though. And we're in a weekly uptrend here on the energy sector. So I've been saying for a while, we also had a POW alert go off on Air Canada. I've said that I've been extremely bullish on the energy sector and recovery plays, the growth sectors. Just leading into the summer, we got news out today that Ontario is going to be going back to removing the passports for the restrictions that are in place as of March 1st. So I think that we could be back to normal across the board, and we could see these recovery plays, specifically, airliners and cruise ships and the energy sector, get some positive momentum leading into the summertime. That's for sure. VIX also bouncing on the weekly, so up over 10% today. So volatility is back in the market. But let's just take a look at QQQ. Tech has been struggling, and if we just take a look at the weekly time frame, we're still in a weekly downtrend. It's a weekly lower high. So again, as long as we hold key support here at 334.15, we're going to expect tech to hold up relatively well. And we now have key resistance at 370.10. Now we are just looking for a weekly higher low compared to this low at 334.15. If we hold that support and then break resistance up at 370.10, that's going to give us a weekly uptrend. And at that point, we can expect to see tech stocks start to get some attention again. But we know Facebook absolutely destroyed. Tesla's been in a daily downtrend for a while. If we take a look at the weekly time frame, we also had POW sell alerts go off on Tesla. We had the lower high and lower low, another lower high and lower low. And here we are just starting weekly consolidation. We had support at 862 and we're losing that. Now we have support at 850. So after 850, we're looking at 792 on Tesla. And then it's a while before we could see any support after that. And we could even see an EMA 12 and 26 bear cross of those EMAs. So I've been extremely bearish on Tesla. And I'm not sure if you guys can hear that, but apparently maintenance is deciding to start vacuuming outside in the hall in my condo. If you hear a vacuum cleaner, that's because there is one. All right, so let's just take a look at the movers and shakers here today on the individual ticker list. So we had, I'm sure why that's not, let's just extrapolate this. There we go. So CWeb, this was a name I called out on the 28th of January, and it was daily consolidation. We had the low here at 102. We had the high at 123, a higher low at 103. And then as soon as we broke the high at 123, we confirmed a daily uptrend. And I said it was an absolute screaming buy with a stop below $1 psychological. So if you just entered there on that daily higher low and trend change attempt and set your stop under $1, that was a very, very low risk. You were risking about, you could have even risked 5 cents or 10 cents to allow for a little bit more risk. And sure enough, up almost 100% from those lows, and basically a double bottom. So congrats to the bulls who took that trade. CWeb, EH, GME leading the decline today though. CWeb, we knew daily consolidation was likely going to ensue at some point soon. We had yet to really see any daily consolidation all the way down to $1.25. So we could easily see it pull back down to EMA 12 from here, which is about another 10 to 11%. So if we do continue to see a bit more downside, if you're wondering why CWeb's down today, it's just the following the broader market. And if we take a look here at the bull list, we have IMV, INSG. This is another name I called out to private members. I said, watch INSG for a big move. If you're looking for a nice play swing trade, I think that this could be a very nice play going into the next couple of weeks. You can see here we're working on a daily uptrend. And if we can get over that 461 resistance, actually 463, you could even set a stop buy to look to potentially purchase the stock if we get above, say, 465 and look for that continuation. After that, we have a lack of resistance up until 556. So you're looking at a potential long up of about 20%, a little over 20%. Square was another name that I said to be watching out for. Facebook, PayPal is another great option as well. So I said to private members that I wouldn't jump the gun on PayPal too quickly. I could expect more downside, and sure enough, here we are just dwindling. So what I would be looking for is a high of the daily candle to be broken tomorrow. I also said averaging in around the 120 area wasn't a bad idea. Maybe buy a bit at 120, maybe buy a bit at 110, and then maybe buy a bit at 100 if you're looking for a little bit more risk and you're looking for a little bit more of a longer term swing. And then look for a potential gap fill here at the 152, but we do have a lack of resistance all the way up to 176 on the daily time frame, really, which is about over 50% from here. But just to fill the gap, we're looking here at about a 30% bounce. So like I said, you could start to average in around these levels with a stop below 100 psychological, So essentially, from these current levels down to about $100, you're risking about 11% to make upwards of even just to see an EMA 12 backtest here of resistance. That's about 15%. EMA 26 is about 30%. And then a gap fill is about 35%. So like I said, I think PayPal is going to be a great pick here over the next couple of weeks, and a nice potential bottom fish opportunity here as we look to see a weekly bounce. And we're getting extreme here on the RSI. We're down into the teens, right? We're at 15 here on the weekly RSI. And if we take a look at the monthly time frame, very close to monthly oversold as well. So if you knew nothing about charting and just bought when things were getting close to oversold on the monthly time frame, again, not financial advice, this is for entertainment purposes only, but if you just start to buy when things are getting toward the oversold territory on these macro level time frames, generally you're going to do a lot better than most retail, because most people want to do is they want to buy things when they feel good about the investment. They don't. The stock market's a strange place where people do not like discounts. And we could still see an EMA 12 and 26 bear cross here on PayPal as well, which would likely mean we would hit that monthly oversold. So just be aware that we could see more downside. We could even see a test of that 100 psychological. If you are playing off of that 100 psychological support and you're looking for a medium to long-term swing, or maybe you're investing and you're looking long-term, in which case that's different. Like I said, just watch that 100 psychological, maybe allow for a little bit of wiggle room in case we do go stop loss hunting on a flush of that 100 psych. So moving on, taking a look at the MJ space. So we had some Hexo news today. Hexo started daily consolidation. We were talking about it in the private chat room for POW group members, and there was some board nominations. We'll go over that, and also reverse split voting as well. There's a couple other things that we'll run through, but I don't think that was expected by the market. We were down over 12%, but we're still in a daily uptrend here on Hexo. We knew daily consolidation was likely coming at some point, but we have key support there at 57 cents. So again, we'll jump into that news here in just a second, but let's just take a look across the sector. VLNS, Hexo, and PCLO leading the decline today. Just going to extrapolate this out a bit here as well. And on the bull list, we have Oxley, Labs, and Huge. So Oxley was another name that I called out, saying it wasn't a bad entry, and I bought some on Friday last week. So let's just take a look. That's not the right one. Let's take a look at the NEO exchange here. Just take a look at a couple of different exchanges. So we had the low there. I said we were right on 13.5 support. So I said not a bad entry here. After 13.5, we were looking at 12 cents as the next key support. Should we zoom out here to the monthly time frame, you can see here that was the low of that pullback from the all-time highs. And we're just looking for a higher low here compared to that. So like I said, was going to add, personally, I added on Friday. It wasn't a huge position, not as much as I would have liked, but like I said, I was going to take a scale in type of approach. So if we get back down to that 12 cent area, I'll add again there. But it doesn't mean that we have to see weakness. We did close at the low of the day. We closed at the low of the week last week. So it looked like we were going to see more downside. And that came after news that one of the companies that they acquired, I believe, is laying off about 55 people. There was an MJ Biz Daily article. But like I said, if you were playing off that 13.5 cent support, just from those levels, just off of those lows, you're looking at about a 25% bounce. So congrats to the bulls, currently up over 18% at the moment. And this is a name that I think could really shoot up pretty easily. I think there was even an upgrade. I can't remember the article at the moment. It's escaped me who it was from, but eventually, I think they said there was like 150% worth of upside potential here. And they could easily see this up around 38 cents. So if we just zoom out here, we do have a lack of resistance on the daily time frame. If we can get over 22 cents, there's really no resistance all the way up until 35 cents. So if we just take a look at from the high at 35 cents, that's over 100% increase. So I agree. I think that Oxley is going to see a big few months over the next couple of months. They have earnings coming up. I think it's the 1st of April. Again, we'll want to see official confirmation from them. Taking a look at the U.S. side, so MSOS, daily consolidation, it's a potential daily bull flag at the moment. And we're holding, and we could see an EMA 12 and 26 bull cross of the EMAs in the daily time frame. We are rejecting from the top of that Bollinger Band, so I could easily see a pullback. More than likely going to see a pullback to those EMAs, I think around the $23 area. but still in a daily uptrend on MSOS. You can see here we have the low, high, higher low, and higher high. And we have that stair step action, new higher low here at 2090. So we're just looking for a higher low on any further daily consolidation compared to that 2090, which means we could fall over 10% here and still be in a daily uptrend. So just be aware of that. Taking a look at the bull and bear list. So we had CWE, EB, so CWEB, ACRG, and TAT leading the decline today. On the bull list, we had ENTAUG and FLGC. Let's just take a look at how Truly was doing. Truly is doing really well. And daily uptrend, it's a daily bull flag as well. Cureleaf, so trying to hold that $10 area. And still yet to see daily consolidation and no daily support all the way down until 912. So wouldn't be surprised if we do see some daily consolidation soon. Keep in mind that we are not close to daily overbought yet on the RSI, so we could see a bit more upside, but we did have resistance there at 1125, and we got as high as 1118. So essentially a double top at that level. Wouldn't be surprised if we pulled back tested the 1025 to $10 area on Cureleaf. And I see we have quite a few people joining us and online on the live stream at the moment. So if you have any ticker requests, make sure to drop them in the chat below. I'm going to get into those here in just a moment. I've got about 40 minutes before I got to run and pick up my girlfriend. So just taking a look at Mind Medicine. Mind Medicine had a huge rebound from the lows there at 79 cents and long up of about 66%. And then here we are confirming a daily uptrend, but back into daily consolidation. Just looking for a daily higher low here compared to support at 103. So if you're looking for any longer term entries on MNMD, you could look to potentially scale into that support level there at 103 and $1 psychological. But just keep in mind, if we do see weakness in the broader market, this could easily tank MJ and most sectors right across the board. If we see weekly downtrends confirm on the S&P 500, that is not going to be good for assets. And let's just take a look at the dollar DXY index. So we were in weekly consolidation mode, but now we went from weekly consolidation to starting the weekly bounce. So the dollar has key resistance coming up at 97.44. If we reject from there, the dollar is at risk of a weekly downtrend as well with a lower high and lower low. So right now, I think the two most important things to be watching are the S&P 500 weekly time frame and the dollar index. The dollar index confirms weekly downtrends. That's likely going to mean that the S&P 500 is going to do well and assets are going to do well. And like I said, SPY could potentially change the weekly trend here. We're consolidating, so just looking for a higher low. A lot of people are fearful that we're going to see, the broader market collapse. But like I said, unless we lose 420.76, there's nothing to be worried about. We're just looking for a weekly higher low. And we could easily, over the next couple of weeks, confirm a weekly uptrend as well. And if we were to break resistance there at 458.12, that would confirm a weekly uptrend. And sentiment shift would be risk on again, right? That's just how quickly things can change. So we're going to be watching the next few weeks and the next month. It's going to be a very crucial time in the markets. So it looks like we have GLXY for a ticker request. Let's take a look. And I assume you mean on the TSX. So Galaxy Digital. So daily time frame. We have the low, high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. And now we're just looking for a daily higher low compared to 1528. So watch that 1528 level. I wouldn't really consider this enough of a higher low here to say that we lost the daily uptrend. We were filling a gap there at 15. We had that gap up, and then we had the gap at 1549. We came down and we hit a low of 1720. Sorry, we had a high of 1726 and then a low of 1720. So pretty much filled that from the gap up on February 7th. But we went into a higher high, still nowhere near daily overbought either. But after that, we have a lack of resistance here until 23.77. So if you're looking at a potential entry, you can let me know in the chat as well. Jelly Bean, what type of play you're looking at? Are you looking at shorting? Are you looking at going long? Are you looking at a long-term entry, short-term entry, day trade, swing trade, that type of thing? But I'd be watching there, like I said, key support at 15.28. Let's just zoom out to the weekly time frame. So we are in a weekly downtrend, and it's a potential weekly lower high. And as long as we maintain 1360, bulls are just fine. So if you're looking at entries here, you can start to look to play off of that key support at 1360. If you're looking for a longer term play, and you're a bit more aggressive, like I said, maybe you're scaling in here into weekly consolidation, setting your stop below that 1360. If the S&P 500 were to confirm a weekly uptrend, that's likely going to increase the odds that Galaxy Digital will as well. And then same thing with Bitcoin. If we go over to the Bitcoin chart here on the weekly time frame, in case you're joining late, we're starting weekly consolidation as well. So if we see weekly uptrends confirm on Bitcoin, we see weekly uptrends confirm on the S&P 500. We'll be looking for weekly uptrends on GLXY as well. And like I said, maybe you're scaling in now into this consolidation with a stop below support at 1360, or maybe you're a bit more conservative. Maybe you want to wait for the high of 2007 to break. If we form a higher low and hold support and then break that resistance at 2007, then that's going to confirm a weekly uptrend. So maybe you want to enter as we're confirming a weekly uptrend. Personally, I'm a bit more aggressive with my style of trading, so I usually look to play off of support, and I usually look to scale in, lower my cost basis, and then I set my stop below those key supports. But like I said, we're still in a weekly downtrend, so unless we change that weekly trend, I don't expect the bulls to really see much follow through. But if we do get the weekly uptrend confirmed and we continue the weekly bounce, then we have a lack of resistance on the weekly up till $27. Just look at the weekly time frame here, GLXY. Hang on a second. GLXY.to. So on the weekly time frame, we did reject just under the 10-week moving average. So 20 psychological, obviously going to be strong resistance, and then we had the 10-week moving average there at 1980 as well. So a lot of confluence for resistance there in that area. We still haven't yet to see a MACD bull cross on the weekly time frame, so we still have some work to do there, which leads me to believe that we could still see a bit more downside here, scouting a weekly high or low. We do have a stochastic bull cross, which is good, and we usually see that when we're looking for a macro level reversal. Usually the stochastic RSI will cross first, and then we usually see the MACD act as a laggard. But the closer these get, the closer we're going to be to finding a temporary bottom, in my opinion. And like I said, if you're looking for an entry, for a potential scale in. Yeah, so if you're looking long, like I said, I'd probably use the scale in approach if it were me. Add a little bit, say if you're comfortable adding at these levels, add a little bit if we get to around the $16 area, add a little bit around $15 area, and then set your stop under the weekly support there at 1360. You could even look for a back test of $15 psychological, and then set your stop under that low. Like I said, it all really depends on how much risk you're willing to allocate to the trade, and how much dollar volume is obviously going to play a factor into that as well. But like I said, the broader market, I'd be watching the S&P 500, I'd be watching Bitcoin as well to see if they're going to confirm their weekly uptrends. If it looks like they're starting to, see an upswing, we'll look for the weekly uptrends to confirm, and then that's going to add more confidence that we're going to see GLXY follow suit as well. But like I said, not a bad entry here. I do think that we could see a bit more upside in the S&P 500, and I do think that we could see a bit more upside on the crypto space, specifically Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin's going to retrace probably to the 50 to 55K area at least. I could see it bounce up to about 60K, and then we form a lower high, and then we see Bitcoin start to trend back down, and then we see altcoins outperform. That's basically what I'm looking for at the moment, until I see data that proves otherwise. But that's what the charts are basically telling me right now. Let's just move on to the weekly moving averages. So the weekly moving averages, we did have the 100 weekly there at 1494. So like I said, 15 psychological, and we managed to close the week back above that. So I'd be watching, like I said, a higher low right around that $15 back test. But like I said, as long as we hold 1360, bulls are just fine here. and we could easily pull back, 10%. So just be aware that there could be more downside from here in the short term. And in terms of the daily moving averages, we had a death cross back here on January 27th, so the end of January. That's not good. So we could easily see it pull back to about $15 in my opinion. Yeah, it's not looking good whatsoever here on GLXY on the daily time frame moving averages. If you're a bit more conservative, what you could do is look to, like I said, to play off of that 15.28 support. So maybe you want to set your stop under $15 and attempt to scale in here with a stop below that. That's likely what I would do based on that death cross that we have. I'd look to play off that 15.28 support with a stop below $15. But if we do lose that, we're obviously going to lose the daily uptrend, and then the weekly time frame. Like I said, no support all the way down to 1360. So if you do fail at that first attempt, that's probably what I would do. Look to bottom fish and play off that 15.23 support. Set a stop below $15. If I get stopped out, then I'd look to play off of that weekly support there at 1360. But it's looking pretty bearish right now in the short term. Hopefully that helps. And see, we have BW. Let's take a look at BW. Babcock and Wilcox Enterprises, I assume, on the NYSE. Let me know if that's incorrect. But basically, same thing here as a lot of our names. Weekly lower high into weekly consolidation. So we're just working on a weekly uptrend. We are in a weekly downtrend. So we had the lower high here into a lower low. So as soon as we lost 799, we confirmed the weekly downtrend. That's when I would have been exiting. I would have set a stop. Let's say I was in a position and I was riding it with a stop. In the longer term swing, I would have had my stop loss set there. I just would have walked it up, and I would have definitely would have set a stop for under 799. And then, like I said, if we lost that support, that was going to confirm the weekly downtrend. And then look what came after that. We saw another pullback of about 20%. So you could have saved yourself just 20% there on getting out at that levels. But again, let me know if you're looking long. What type of trade you're looking at, but we did see the EMA 12 and 26 bear cross here crossing as well, so that leads me to believe that we could see a bit more short-term downside on BW as well. And as long as we hold the lows here at 647, we're just scouting a weekly higher low, and then what we'd be looking for is something along the lines of this, where we form that higher low, hold support, and then we break to a higher high. So if we break to a higher high, which will be confirmed if we break $8.20. So if we break that $8.20 level, maybe you want to enter there on that weekly uptrend confirming. Whoops. So I'd be watching that level right there. Oh, I did it again. What is it? H? Alt H? There we go. So if you're watching that level, if we break that level, maybe you're looking to, like I said, maybe you're a bit more conservative and you're waiting for a weekly uptrend to confirm. And if we confirm a weekly uptrend, then that likely means that we're going to expect a lot more upside. And we do have a lack of resistance all the way up to the high there at 950. So if you just waited for a weekly uptrend to confirm and you entered after that resistance break, that's about a 15% upside. Like I said, if you're a bit more aggressive, you're scaling in now into weekly consolidation. If you're looking at a long-term position, and you can look to play off that support at 647. It's still a bit away from current levels. If we just take a look, that's about a 10% drop. So you have to ask yourself, are you okay scaling in now? Which means we could see a potential drop of about 10%. Maybe you add around the 680 area, maybe again around the 670. Maybe you want to take a scale in 3 different orders and then set your stop below the low. And then essentially like I said, you're averaging in. You're probably going to get your average a little lower if you're scaling into that weekly consolidation. But let's say you had an average of around $7. Essentially, you're risking a little over 5%, so 6%, 6.5% to make upwards of 35%. So those are some good risk to reward opportunities. Like I said, we're going to be watching the S&P 500, going to be watching the Bitcoin chart as well, as Bitcoin has been A lot of people ask me, you know, I'm not interested, or say to me, I'm not interested in crypto. So I don't really look at the crypto chart, but we kind of have to be because the Bitcoin chart has been giving us a lot of clues lately, especially since the lows of March 2020. It's usually been a leading indicator for the rest of the market. Usually we saw a Bitcoin move, then Tesla would move, and then the S&P 500 would move, and then the overall broader market, right, and individual stocks would move after that. And a lot of people are wondering why. It's because Bitcoin is one of the most attracted markets at the moment, right? It's got the most eyeballs on it. Also, Tesla just joined the S&P 500, and they added Bitcoin to their balance sheet. So when Bitcoin does well, you know, that helps Tesla do well. I think they made more off their Bitcoin investment than they made selling cars in the prior quarters. And I think it's now worth over $2 billion on their balance sheet worth of Bitcoin. But if we take a look at after that, then once Tesla moves, it has a huge weighting now in the S&P 500. So then that's why we see that correlation and that sort of chain reaction happen, right? But like I said, just expect a bit more downside. We do have earnings coming up here as well at the first week of March. It's tentative for March 2nd. We want to see official confirmation from the company. But that's something to be aware of as well. Usually it's a gamble leading into earnings, unless you're really, really studying the economics and digging into the financials and market conditions. But let's just take a look at the weekly time frame here. So PW, we rejected right at the 10-week moving average as well on that weekly bounce. So a lot of names getting rejected at their 10-week MA. We still yet to see a stochastic bull cross, and still quite a ways away before we see the MACD bull cross. So like I said, I could easily see a bit more downside here, maybe a pullback to the $7 area. 675 wouldn't be surprised in the least. In terms of the weekly moving averages, the 50, the 100, and the 200, we did have the 200 cross bearish down through the 50. So when the longer terms cross downwards through the shorter terms, that's perceived as bearish. So again, we did see more downside after that occurred, but I don't think we're completely out of the woods yet. I could at least see a flush of $7 potentially here on this weekly consolidation. And we did have a golden cross though on the daily time frame, with the 50 cross through the 200-day moving average, and we've yet to really see any upside from that golden cross. So if this moving average, this 50-day moving averages, if it holds above the 200, I think that's bullish. And we do have the low here of this daily pullback at 647. So like I said, we're just watching that key support level, 647, looking for the weekly high or low. I'd likely recommend the scale in approach and expect a little bit more downside in the short term. We have the Russia and Ukraine tensions, Fed meeting today, and the fears of interest rate hikes. So easily can see a bit more downside in my opinion. Hopefully that helps. That was fantastic. Thanks. Yeah, it helped a whole lot. You're welcome. Happy to hear that. All right, I do have to wrap up in about 20 minutes. Let's move on here. I think we had a couple more. Yeah, so KNWN. And we'll talk about Hexo here in just a moment. They had some new board of directors. One worked for HSBC, one Thomson Reuters, and one Canaccord, but didn't seem to have any CPG background. And there's also a proposed reverse split. I see a lot of people are opposing it. I don't think it's the greatest idea as well. I think it was between 2 to 14 reverse split. But we'll take a look at that here in a second. Look through KNWN. So still no weekly consolidation yet. It's a weekly inside bar at the moment. Resistance at $1.99 and support at 158. If we lose 158, weekly consolidation will begin. We're still though in a weekly downtrend. So we're just anticipating a weekly lower high. But again, if we hold this low here at $1.22 and if we hold this low actually of the previous week at 158, then we're going to potentially see a bounce back up to resistance here at $1.99. Then we'll continue the weekly bounce. We topped out right at the EMA 26 as well, which we've been failing to confirm a weekly uptrend and get above it convincingly ever since we lost it. So be watching that EMA, but essentially just looking to see whether or not the low of last week holds. If If it fails to hold, then weekly consolidation will begin, and then we'll look for a higher low compared to 122. And again, likely going to see a bit more downside, in my opinion, as we confirm a weekly uptrend across the board, the broader market. We are coming off weekly oversold as well. So that's usually a positive sign that we could see a temporary bottom being set and a little bit more of a macro level reversal. We did have support there, like I said, at 122, and then we had a pullback and a double bottom right at that level on the daily time frame. And we had a mini higher low here at 155, but we're in a daily uptrend, scouting a daily higher low and trying to hold those EMAs at the moment. So again, 10-week moving average is acting as resistance. We do have the stochastic and the MACD crossing bullish though. So this one's a bit stronger considering a lot of names are already consolidating on the weekly, and this one yet to start weekly consolidation. So standing out, but like I said, not completely convinced that we're going to see more upside here in the short term, because we have yet to consolidate here in the last month or so. And a lot of the broader markets consolidating on the weekly time frame. We're still in a weekly downtrend, so odds are that we're likely going to see a bit more of a pullback, in my opinion, maybe back to around the 150 area, form a weekly higher low, and then bulls will attempt a weekly trend change. But if we just take a look at the low there, from the low and the double bottom there at 122, you're looking at a move of about 62%. So when we run over 60%, you shouldn't be surprised at a 15 to 20% pullback. Like I said, I could easily see a pullback to around that $1.50 area. And on the weekly time frame, again, watching those moving averages as resistance. Failed to close over EMA 12, and now EMA 12 is rejecting. So we're going to be watching EMA 12 there at $1.76. If we get above $1.76, we've got a lack of resistance up to about $2. In terms of the weekly moving averages, so we are below all of the weekly moving averages at the moment. Not looking good. And we had resistance there from the 200 weekly moving average, which was at 206. So that was a great area to look to potentially top fish and reject from. KNWN. And we rejected, we also had the 100-day moving average there at $2 as well. So 200 was a clear level to expect temporary top being set, like I said, up over 60% from the lows. We had the 200 weekly moving average, the 100-day moving average there at $2 as well. So hopefully that helps. Like I said, anticipate a bit more downside in my opinion, but holding up a lot better than some of our names. Like I said, not yet seeing weekly consolidation. And again, if you guys give me a little bit more context into if the ticker's great, I can give you my unbiased opinion and tell you whether or not I'm bullish or bearish on it. But if you give me a little background onto whether or not you're long or swing trade, day trade, investment, that type of thing, it can give me a little bit more help as well. VUR.life. VUR. I'm not familiar with that one. I'm not seeing it up here. VUR. Yeah, maybe if you can let me know, Namak. I'm not seeing that one here. KNWN No Labs receives IRB approval to begin an internal clinical trial of non-invasive glucose monitoring technology. Okay, cool. RFID. Yeah, I'm not familiar with them. Austin James initiates coverage on buy, announced price target of $7. Gotta love that. Crypto bouncing at the moment. Check out No Labs, my friend. Yeah, I'll have to check them out. Thanks, NWB. Hexo is trash, my guy. Down the road, got fire, no tax. Hexo is trash, my guy. Down the road, got fire, no tax. I'm not sure what you mean there, NY Fishing, but thanks, man. You're welcome. Any more of XLM analysis? Yeah, we can take a look at XLM. It's pretty much just following the rest of the market at the moment. So we're weekly consolidation, still in a weekly downtrend, and we're forming. It's not looking good here at the moment. Want to hold that key support at 19 cents. Once we lost it, We dipped as low as 16.8 cents. So as long as that holds, then we have support here at 11 cents. Wouldn't want to see us lose 20 cents again, or sorry, 19 cents again. But after 19, we're watching 16 cents. I would place some bids around that 19 to, if you're looking for entries, that 19 to 16 area. And then, like I said, if we do lose 16, watch the low at 11 cents. I don't think we're going to get there. Like I said, we're going to be watching Bitcoin's basically leading the market right now. So if we can see a weekly higher low and a weekly uptrend confirm on Bitcoin, if the S&P 500 can avoid a weekly downtrend and confirm a weekly uptrend, that's going to give us more confidence that XLM is going to see a reversal and its temporary bottom being set as well. But we're rejecting here at EMA 12. So another notable signal would be if we were to close a weekly candle above that EMA 12. Have yet to close above it. We've yet to change the weekly trend and close above those EMAs since the highs at 80 cents. So a simple statement could be if we confirm a weekly uptrend and close above, the difference is back here is we never had a convincing weekly uptrend. We had the low, we didn't have a lower high. We were forming the lower high here. This was all the same bounce all the way up to about 44 cents. And then we just faded it all back into weekly consolidation. And then we rejected, pretty much double topped. And then that's why we saw a lot more downside. So we've yet to change the weekly trend and close. The difference is when we closed over these EMAs before, from the lows there at 19 and that pullback when Bitcoin pulled back from its all-time high, that's when we were looking for the weekly uptrend and the close over those. But again, we failed to confirm the weekly uptrend. We were closing over those EMAs, which was great, but we didn't confirm the weekly uptrend. So now what we'll want to see is a weekly uptrend confirm and then a weekly close over those EMAs. If we are in a weekly uptrend and we close over those EMAs, I think we're going to see some fireworks on XLM. But let's just take a look at XLM on the weekly time frame. Again, 10-week moving average is rejecting pretty much everything. MACD getting real tight here though. So like I said, I could easily see a weekly consolidation, maybe a pullback to the 19 cent area, maybe as low as 18, and then form that weekly higher low. We're going to be watching Bitcoin, the broader market, and then confirm a weekly uptrend and a weekly close over that 10-week moving average there at 24 cents. So if all that happens, I think we could easily see a move back up to around 50 cents on XLM, and maybe even start its run to its all-time high. In terms of the weekly time frame, we're holding the 200 weekly moving average there at 19 cents. So any entry there around 19 cents or below, I think, is an absolute steal on XLM. Probably one of the most undervalued cryptos out there, in my opinion. But it's not really seeing. I don't think there's. It's being held down because of the Ripple lawsuit too, right? Same with XRP. We're not seeing any huge movement in XRP. Not even close to testing its all-time highs. Same with XLM, and I think just because they're brother and sister, essentially, we're going to need some sort of clarity, which could happen really at any time. We have the February 17th, the SEC has to release documents with regards to Bitcoin and Ether, and Ripple may be able to use that to its fair notice defense, and that's coming up on the 17th. So we're going to be really watching what comes into that. Hopefully that helps. Your opinion on Hexo. Yeah, so Hexo, if you were wondering what happened, if you're ever looking for it, you can just go to hexocorp.com. Today was Monday, so generally they release news on a Monday. You just go here under investors, click on CDR filing, and they had some news out from today. So they had the one of importance here. You can check them all out, but the one of significance was this form of proxy, which we have voting leading into the AGM, which is March 8th. Just enter that code and it'll bring it up. So there are a few new board nominations. And guys, I'm pretty much going to have to end the ticker request. I see we're getting down here though. Fire, I think he means Supreme Cannabis. Yeah. Huh. Okay. Yeah, well they're Canopy, right? So yeah, I'm gonna end the ticker request here now, guys, because I do have to leave here in about 10 minutes, and I have an appointment I have to run to, so going to have to cut this short in about 10 minutes. And we're getting a little lengthy here, almost at an hour anyway on the live stream. So trying to keep it around that hour area. So taking a look here, one thing to note, we have Dr. Lauren Chung, who worked at Thomson Reuters. That was one of the big thing that stood out for me, but no real major CPG experience. But we'll go over my thoughts on this. I still like this board better than what Adam Arviv nominated. The person that the people that he nominated to the board doesn't mean that they were going to completely replace everybody else that was on the board either, right? Those were just his recommendations, and they're also increasing the board of directors from 10 to 12. So for or against, you can vote on that on this proxy. But essentially, the big ones that stood out: Doran Chung, Helen Fortin. Let me just bring up my notes here. We were talking about it in the private group here. And yeah, no more Vincent Chiara. So a lot of the haters, especially Adam Arviv and a lot of retail, I think, are going to be really happy that the fact that we don't have Vincent Chiara on there. There's some, I wouldn't say gossip, but I think it's pretty true. I think he had dealt with the lease of the Belleville facility, and I don't know the exact specifics right off the top of my head, but something about $20 million and leasing it back, and for like $2 million or something, like I can't remember, but did some questionable things, and like I said, a lot of people just weren't very happy with him. So that's one thing to note. Yep, no more Adam Myron either. Yeah, that's a big change. Keep in mind, Adam Myron is starting Brain Capital. It's a cryptocurrency custodial company here in Canada, and I think they're looking to go public soon. So he's the interim CEO there at Brain Capital. So that could just be, could be part of the reason why he's no longer on the board, as well as he's going off into other things. And you got to think too, like SSL and Adam Myron, they've been with, they started this company with $35,000 and the help of no one. And then they went into, they met Dr. Michael Munzar, and then everything, then they went to number one position in market share. So they did a really great job, right? Hexo is a very impressive company to where they've gone in such a short period of time, number one in market share. Redecan just launched edibles in Ontario, and I heard through the grapevine that they're going to be launching flour and gel caps into the Quebec market here this week. So that's a complete untapped market that we're going to be looking for. That's going to be huge in my opinion, especially as we get back into normalcy here, as the restrictions start to ease into the summertime. I think edibles and beverages are going to make a big comeback. Information circular is available on CDAR. Yep. So aside from that, we had Helen F. Fortin, I think it's French, obviously, Brad Kotush, and Peter Stringham. So the Montours are still on there. So I like this board of directors, to be honest. Peter Stringham, I believe he was with HSBC. Let me just scroll up to my notes. So yeah, Lauren Chung was a director at Thomson Reuters. No major CPG experience. John Bell also worked for Canopy, so he has the MJ background. Brad Kotush used to work at Canaccord. And Peter Stringham was at HSBC. So not bad. In terms of, the background on MJ, we've now got the Montours for that, right? Redecan. So we've got them knowing everything about the inner workings of cannabis from seed to sale, the demographic and their target market, the consumer. And then we've got, some of these background in finance. We've also got Rosemary Gage, which is still on the board today. She knows a lot about the Quebec area, is how I understand it. Scott Cooper has our CPG experience from Molson Coors, working for them for 12 years, and also ran Truss Beverages, which Truss is a fantastic company. Their products are amazing, and that's the joint venture, of course, with Molson Coors. And John K. Bell used to work for Canopy as well. So we've got some experience with MJ, big corporate MJ there. We've also got, like I said, the increase of directors and the share consolidation of with a range of 2 and 14. So I personally don't know if people are going to vote for this. I'm undecided if I'm going to vote for or against it. Personally, I don't think it's a huge deal. Anyways, like I'm not looking at this and in complete disgust. To be completely honest with you, we know that they had a reverse split about a year and a half ago. That was from 8-1. They decreased it from 4-1. So they went, they were confident then. But it just really depends on how confident these companies are that U.S. legalization is going to see any real movement as well, right, over the next few months and the next year or so. If they're confident in that, then the share price might grow organically. We know that they have a Fortune 200 partner as well that they're working with. That could be a catalyst in the short term. We know they're working on a special purpose vehicle for an entry into the California market with the readies and the gel caps. We're going to see trusts expand to more states, New York, Rex coming online soon. So lots to be watching for. I think they could do this organically with the launch of edibles and Redecan entering into Quebec. Potential for EBITDA positive this quarter. We have Q2 earnings coming up in the mid-March. We'll want to see official. That'll be the next news release that we likely see for a date for earnings. But right now it's tentative for around March 17th. But again, we'll want to see official confirmation. But I mean, I don't think it's the end of the world. Last time we reverse split, we shot up from $2 all the way to $11. I don't think it was the reverse split that brought us down from $11 USD and $14 Canadian. I think it was just a brutal bear market that we've seen across the board, and the raises and the debt and the cash concerns. But if we take a look at the book value of this company, right, and the potential that they have, of course, there's risks, right? Just like any other company, we know Oxley's going through a very similar situation. Sundial got an extension from the from the NASDAQ as well. So they're under potential of needing to do a reverse split as well if they don't see their share price rebound in a big way and stay over $1 for 10 consecutive trading days before leading into that 6 months extension is finished, right? So Oxley may even do it. Canara is another company that might potentially do a reverse split. They got a ton of shares at the moment, so we're gonna be. It's Hexo's not the only one, right? And we know Oxley laid off from one of their facilities, 55 people. So a lot of companies are starting that cost cutting. I don't think it's the end of the world. Personally, it might not even get approved. There might be a lot of opposition and people opposing this. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think listening to my voice. But let's just take a look. Yeah, usually if you're wondering why there hasn't been a press release yet, usually it comes out on CEDAR before. A lot before we see a press release. Like one time when they released their earnings came out at like 2 a.m. or like midnight Eastern time or something like that. And I remember doing a video at like 1 in the morning or something like that. So it's not uncommon for it to come out on CEDAR and then the PR to lag by about a day or so. Let's just run through this again. I got to leave here in about 5 minutes or less. I thought they were delaying the meeting because there was something big beneficial. Yeah, that's a good point. I'm not sure this is exactly why, because they said they were working on a number of initiatives into this meeting. So it could have been the board of director nominations. It could have been the increasing the board of directors from 10 to 12, this reverse split. Would they consider that beneficial to shareholders? That's the question mark, right? I don't think there might be something else that they were talking about. We'll have to wait and see. But stock price is still in a daily uptrend. We knew to be looking for a daily high or low. So as long as 57 USD holds, I think it's just fine. Take a look at the Hexo chart. On the daily time frame here. So like I said, we hadn't consolidated on the daily time frame since back here at 57 cents. So that was 11 days, so 7 trading days. So we knew that we were likely going to see daily consolidation at some point. So as long as we hold 57, we're just fine on Hexo at the moment. But we're lucky that we bounced from that 46 area, right? From 46 all the way up to the high here at around 72. I think we got as high as 75 cents after hours. With some big volume there after hours, but pushing this below a little bit, right? Could have been in a much worse situation. And like I said, the S&P 500 getting that pretty big drop out of the way. But yeah, I agree. Hopefully, this isn't all that they were talking about for their plans and initiatives that would be beneficial to shareholders. High five. How do you think the market might react if Hexo outsells ACB? Yeah, well, Oxley's forecasted at 29 million coming up here on their next earnings report, which ACB was what, 60 million? So in terms of revenue, so it could easily, Oxley could even pass ACB, but yeah, we could easily see Hexo get over 60 million like next month. So I think that would be big. But ACB is not a huge gauge anymore for market sentiment, to be honest. Not too many people care about them. They're mostly medical now, which sold about 60 million last quarter. Yep, as part of the stock value popularity contest. Your thoughts? Like I said, it might carry a little bit of weight, but it's Aurora, so take a little bit of a grain of salt. No offense to Aurora, but not really moving the market. Look at how much CGC moved to market though in its recent earnings. Also, why is Hexo not in CA with THC yet? They can't be in California with THC yet. If they're listed on a NASDAQ or the NYSE, you can't sell to the US, and yeah, there's a lot of restrictions. SSL said by January. Yeah, that's the special purpose vehicle though. If they do it through, just Google Investopedia special purpose vehicle. Essentially, it's like a subsidiary type of thing. So they could create that, and then he said it was going to be like an asset basis, right? So they take all the revenues, and Hexo owns like whatever percentage of the assets, and then once it becomes federally legal, they assume a larger interest in that, controlling interest. Yeah, Quebec should be launched in this week. There's flour and gel caps coming to Quebec. I thought Vince Chera had many shares in Hexo. Yeah, he definitely does. Definitely does. The guy owns the Toronto Stock Exchange building, so he's big. All right, we're getting over an hour here. I thought, thanks, you're welcome. I think we're good, actually. That was perfect timing. All right, thanks for everybody. You are an absolute gem if you stuck around to the end. That was a blast. Going to end it there, though. And we'll try and get another Q&A session. Like I said, did this end of day live stream in public today. Thought we'd change it up a little bit. And like I said, that Hexo news came out. I know a lot of people probably wanted to discuss that as well. And it was a while before I really gave an update on my market perspective and what I was looking for. So thanks again for joining us on The Pursuit of Wealth. Again, it's Rod with POW Group. And have a fantastic Monday evening, wherever you are. And we'll see you on the next video.